and some Van Duel stuff that I can't really talk about unless Mr. Roberts wants me to elaborate on it.
I don't know, what Vandal stuff were you working on?
Terraformers.
You didn't even know you were working on Terraformers.
Hey, Elijah, what's been your favorite piece of concept art you've worked on so far?
It's really hard for me to choose because overall I just enjoy design. I really like engineering and architecture, so it's between doing the props that go in the hangars and the hangars themselves, but some of the Van Duel stuff is really nice. I'm enjoying that a lot.
Here's another good question for you is, do you ever see the final design for something you concepted and go, damn, that looks way better than I thought, or damn, that sucks compared to what I drew?
That's an inflammatory question to ask. No, I've seen the discount hangar, and I really like it. I think Forrest and CGBot and the other people that worked on it have done well. I think that Chris Smith really improved on the basic design that I had done for the interior of the 300i, because he specifically asked for like some things not to be designed out because he wanted to add a lot of his own choices to it rather than just take the concept and run with that. He took the concept and he added a lot of his own things, such as the chair, instrument clusters, gauge panels, the rear interior that we discussed the hinge assembly, but almost most of that work was done by himself. It was largely just suggestions by me through drawings. So I think he did an excellent job.
Cool. So basically you're saying that you're happy with how the work you've done has turned out in the engine?
Yes. Yeah, I think everyone's doing an excellent job.
Right.
Question for concepting, what will the cockpit self-destruct button look like? Oh.
Oh no. Depends on what vehicle it's for. Might be a lever. Could be some sort of a hatch pull assembly. Just pop it. It might not be a button.
Okay, here's a good one. Can you tell us anything about the little vehicle that you can use to get around the hangar?
Nothing that I can describe yet. Still working on how we're going to build that and how that's going to work with the rest of the game. Right now we're focusing on getting the hangars done themselves, and then things such as that come later. Because it's almost a gameplay element when you think about it. How do you design this thing? How do you get it to work? How does the design fit in with the design of the hangar itself? All these things have to complement one another as well as function in a realistic manner. But we have to add a futuristic flair to it, not only in the visual design, but even in the functionality. And so when I'm doing my design work, I'm always thinking of all those steps ahead rather than just making things look cool. I'm trying to think, how does this work for players? What can help inspire the modelers to take it a step forward? And how well can they read that so that the two of us are on the same page? So like, even something as small as that, it does take a level of planning all the way from like when design says, hey, we need this, then I start thinking, okay, what do they want? What do we need? And then it goes forward like that. So I can't really talk too much about that because it's still one of those things that we're going through and discussing.
There's one other one from Sophine on the chat roll. She wants to know when we'll see some more you've been working on. Some female avatar character concept art.
No, I have not. Not just... No.
Yeah, Rob McKinnon's doing a lot of our character stuff, and we actually have some female stuff that he's done. We may not have, I'm not sure if we released it, but we definitely have female designs, and that's actually one of the next things that we're going to be working on is the base female character.
Yeah, I don't really do very much character work. I might work on armors at some point in the future, but right now I'm just focused on doing architecture. And then in some of my own time, I try to work on the project continuously so that we're staying at least within schedule, and I try to stay ahead of schedule. And right now, doing character work isn't a part of my schedule. Lots of hard surface stuff, vehicles, machines, and architecture.
Mind if I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely. Ask a question. Go ahead.
So, what's the most difficult part for you? Like, what's the worst? Is it like trying to think of the initial concept for it, or is it?
Well, it's trying to think how the design works within the game itself, like, because as I said earlier, that I think of all those different steps, like one, how does it function for gameplay, how does it function visually, and tie those things together. So a good example would be the terraformers. I can't show those, but I can describe it in a way that, because of the way that it would be built, I'm trying to figure out how that translates into the Vanduul design language. Lots of plates, lots of spikes, and horn-looking bits that are mechanical, that sort of flare out almost as if they were air brakes, but they're not necessarily. How do you get something that's large and mechanized to work with a thin-plated design language? So like that's sort of one of the things is like going within a framework that exists. Where with the hangars, because I have a level of familiarity when it comes to architecture, with that there's sort of this free range where it's the designers give me their description of, okay, it needs to house this many vehicles, here are sort of the combinations of the vehicles, and that's a process where we're going back and forth, where right now the Vanduul stuff is just me going off sort of on my own tangent within a framework. So as far as questions like that, I'm still having to wait to ask those questions that's sort of off topic, or like during lunch, like, hey, what about this? What about this? So I'd say sort of like working